Google's Antigravity completely changes how outbound systems are built. Most ways of doing cold outreach either relies on boring templates or on standard AI system that rewrites the same message again and again. But in this video, I'm going to show you an agentic workflow that scrapes your leads, enriches them, and generates personalized icebreaker so you can send better outreach emails, get more replies, and avoid spending hours tweaking messages that don't work. And if you don't know who I am, I'm Joe. I'm an ex-senior manager in big tech, and over the past 5 months, I've helped dozens of businesses transition to AI. So with that aside, get comfortable and let's dive straight in. Before we start going into the building mode, let me give you a quick explanation of why you need an outbound strategy. Whenever we consult as a business, other B2Bs, or whenever I do my one-to-one coaching programs with people that want to start selling AI services as consultant, AI automation, whatever that may be, one of the first things that we touch is how do we get clients? And my first answer is you need to get clients in the most reliable way, most easy way, predictable way possible. So the difference is always, one of the first conversations that I always have with people is, do we go with an inbound strategy versus outbound strategy? What does it mean? Outbound basically means that you are going to send emails to people, and inbound basically means that you are producing content, right? This is the very big difference. So what is the difference between the two? The difference is that inbound is a strategy that I call one-to-many, while outbound is a strategy that I called many-to-one. And why is that? Let's imagine that we are now producing this YouTube video, and let's imagine that 3 people are interested in this content, okay? So I don't have to produce a single piece of content for every single one of the person that is going to watch this video. And so my piece of content is going to be seen in the same way by person 1, by person 2, and by person 3. So for this very reason, one piece of content reaches many people. And this is a long-term strategy that is super difficult to make it work in an effective way because you don't have a proper way to measure, okay, if I produce a video, I know that 10 people are going to see it, right? Like you need to build an audience, it takes time, the content needs to add some sort of value, and so on. So if we talk about funnel, which basically is a shape that represents how many of the person interacting with your brand are actually buying, and this is the shape of a funnel, right? Let's make it a little bit longer. And what a funnel will tell you is that, let's imagine that I have these 3, I have a lot of people that are going to fall in my funnel. Not every single individual will buy anything from me, right? Some may be on target, some may be off target, and etc. But those that will buy will fall all the way down here and eventually is right here. And what can you buy in this example? The content is for free. So you can either be a business owner interested in implementing inbound or outbound strategy, customer acquisition in general with AI in your business, or you want to start and scale your AI agency, and then eventually you jump in my one-to-one coaching. So this content, by definition, is not a funnel which is like this. By definition, my content is helping as many of you as possible to get running. So eventually you come and work with me. So it's this. Most of the content that I produce will never give me any single result. And it's fine, right? Because we are educating people, we are empowering people to get where they want. And eventually, if they find that the content helped them and it's interesting and so on, they eventually will work with me. So by definition, this is non-efficient, long-term, and does not pay as well as the other type of approach, which is the outbound. On the outbound strategy on the other end, and we mentioned that this strategy is a many-to-one, you have that your email campaign is going to go out in a personalized way for every single individual, meaning that every email that you're going to be sending will have, hey, first name, and then eventually we'll have something personalized that will be targeted for the person, so to make them understand that we did our homework and to increase the chance that they will actually want to answer this email and eventually buy our product. But what is the real difference? The real difference is that here, and I want to use the red to make you see it, I have metrics that I can track that I don't have on the other side, right? I have how many emails did I send? 10K. How many people opened it? Like 2,000 whatever. 25% conversion rate. How many clicks? 500. How many leads did I get? 100. And what is my conversion? 0.2%. So what does it mean? It means that whenever I'm building my funnel, which now it's going to be like this, I have a way to make this funnel even more efficient, because if I wanted to sell, let's imagine that here I convert 20, right? And we know that here I am sending 10,000 email every time that I am running my campaign, okay? So if I wanted to sell 40 units of whatever am I selling, audits, automations, whatever, how many people do I reach? Okay, I need to reach 20,000 people, right? So here I have a 2x factor. And then eventually also this one will do 2x. So the outbound strategy is pure math, right? And that's why it's so powerful. Let's imagine that I don't want to do this, but I want to say, okay, let me go back again to this funnel, and I now want not to sell 10K, but I decide that whenever I send 10,000 email, ideally I should not have 20, but I should have 40 leads that convert. What does it mean? It means that somewhere along the way of between where the emails are opened or to how many leads am I speaking and etc., this process right here needs to improve. And how can I improve? Either more qualified leads, so I need to scrape better. Either I need to improve my sales script, which is something that we consult and we help. So the way I'm selling to businesses, how I'm pitching their pain points, am I selling tools, or am I pitching the destination and selling the benefits, and so on and so forth. So you understand that just focusing on this, we are able to actually improve our revenue, which is king, right? Cash is king in any organization. So for this reason, outbound is the best, specifically when you start in the beginning. So how do we make an effective outbound strategy? We make it with an outbound engine. And this is what we're going to be building. We're going to be building with an agentic workflow that starts scraping the leads that we want. Let's imagine 10 CEOs from UK in the recruitment industry. Then we're going to store these leads somewhere. We're going to clean them, enrich them with information from the website. And the reason is that we want to eventually be able to generate what we call an icebreakers. So the first 2 lines of the email that are going to be personalized for the person so that we can increase the open rate and all of the things we discussed before. And then eventually, we're going to insert these in an email marketing campaign tool so that we're going to be able to start mass sending our emails and therefore start showing our offer to the people. So with that being said, let's go to Antigravity. All right, so now that the business part is clear, we have everything we need to build this scraper actually and understand why we are doing it. So the first thing we do is open a folder. I have already created everything, so the folder is going to be empty and it's going to be outbound right here. So once you open it, there's going to be nothing. And the first thing that we're going to do is create the Gemini.md file. And in order to find it, you can either go in the first link in the description down below. Everything is available for free. Otherwise, you can join my community if you're interested also in scaling your agency. So in here, you will find the same thing and you press it. So everything is available for everyone for free. So same thing. And here you will have everything. So by the way, you will have the Gemini file that we will be using. I prepared all of the files that I'm going to upload right after the video. You will have the slides in Canva, the Apify script we're going to be using, the prompts. So everything is here. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to be doing is, let me move this to Markdown so that your guys are going to be able to copy it properly. And then you're going to go right here and back to Gemini and paste it. Now, what are we actually seeing? What is this Gemini.md file and how are we interacting with the platform? Let me explain it to you real quick. So this Gemini file is simply a file that we will be using to initialize the workspace. What does it mean? It means that this file, I showed it in a couple of videos ago, but just gives the agent the possibility of starting the overall environment with some specific architecture, layers, rules, and etc., right? So the framework that we're going to be using right here in order to start this agentic workflow is the DOE Framework. And I will show you that this DOE is also inside the architecture here, right here. And why do we use it? Because this, in a nutshell, is a way in which the agent can proceed in a structured way. And we also can ensure that this agent then will actually perform what we want in the way that we want. And why is that? Because this architecture tells, first of all, that the first layer is going to be the directives. So the directives are basically instruction for the agent that tells what the agent should be doing, and you can review it real quick. But basically, and in simple terms, it's just instruction in natural language that we give to the agent so that it can understand what are the necessary steps that it needs to be creating, right? So this is top-level instructions. If you talk about businesses, this is what you would call an SOP, a standard way of proceeding, right? This is what we are giving. So in the first layer, we mentioned we have the SOPs. So, okay, first layer done, and we have the SOP. Then what happens in the second layer? In the second layer, and that's why the D is here, then orchestration is the second layer. And basically in the orchestration, we are just telling the agent what it should be doing, right? So here we have only things written in Markdown or natural language, right? And here we are telling the agent what it should be doing. So I will try to draw to the best of my ability something like this that should tell you that, okay, this is the decision-making type of stuff. And mind you, in an organization, you can see this orchestration layer as the manager. So the manager says, okay, listen, we need to do this, so that employee needs to do X, that employee needs to do Y, that employee needs to do Z. So the orchestration layer, right, is just a layer that helps to pick the right tool or employee, if you want an easier comparison, right? And then it gives the right sequence, it validates the inputs and the output, it handles the error whenever they come, and it updates every single directive when it learns. So let's imagine that we are creating the directives in the beginning, and then when we run the workflow, we find out that there is, or the agent finds out that there is an error. We don't have to tell the agent, hey, please update, fix, do X, Y, and Z. The agent will do it automatically so that the next time that we run, we have a stronger agent because it improved at each iteration. And then lastly, and I will go to layer 3, right here, this is the layer which is the E, right? So this is the execution layer. And as we mentioned, this is basically the layer that has the tools. And if you want the simple example, it's the employees, and each employee is actually doing their job. So there is going to be, I don't know, an employee that is for lead scraping, right? So there you go. Then you have an employee that is for icebreaker generation, so IG. Then maybe an employee is for researching websites, and so on and so forth, right? So for this reason, these layers are very well defined, and they have a very specific structure, and we want to keep it because the more structure we have, the better the agent will work. And then what is on the bottom part, basically we're telling the agent to self-anneal. And in simple terms, without overcomplicating, is basically whenever you see something broken, fix it and improve yourself. This is what it means, okay? So now that we have described this, we can initialize actually the workspace. And now we're going to initialize the workspace with the usual prompt. So, hey, please initialize the workspace according to what is written in the Gemini.md. Okay, now one thing that I want to do before I tell you anything is look at here. This means this little thingy, the circle that is not saved. So if now we're gonna save it, you see that appears again the X, and we want to do it because if we were to run it before fixing that, then the agent would tell you, hey, but it's incredible, the Gemini.md is actually empty, and so on and so forth. So now we're going to press enter and the agent will initialize the thing. Now that we are waiting for this, let me give you a bit of a walkthrough of the platform so that you can understand actually what's going on. And now you have clarity, right, on what's happening, sorry. So right here, we are communicating with the agent and we're able to see and interact with the agent. So we will tell, okay, fix it, not fix it. The agent will give us feedback on what's going on, and so on and so forth. Here we have the so-called explorer, which basically means the place where we can find all of our directives, all of our folder, all of our files, and so on. And as you can see right here, we're starting to have that the folders and directives that are created are following the DOE framework. So you see directives, execution, and the .tnp, which basically is all of the temporary files that we have and that we don't want to export or use, right? Because they're not adding value, they are just local, and this means, I don't know, the leads that we scraped for now, or templates, PDFs, whatever. And that we have the .env. Listen, if you ask me why is .env, I have no clue. I'm not a software developer, but I know that sometimes in tech, things are just because they are. And this is one example. It means environment. It's just basically, in simple terms, a way to store safely your keys and variables without sharing them with the outside world. But if you were to ask me, why is it called .env? It's a convention. I don't know. It's the same way like why we have a PDF called PDF. I have no idea. It's just someone 100 years ago decided, now we stick with it. Perfect. So now the agent initialized the workspace and we can actually start prompting and start describing what actually we want to create. So let me just quickly move myself so you can see. Hey, I would like to create a outbound engine. And this outbound engine is composed of an initial scraper, which is an Apify scraper that I have already identified and that I would like to use in order to scrape my leads. Then eventually, I want you to store these leads inside a Google Sheet that has already the columns pre-populated with the same names of what you will find inside the scraper, and has on top an additional column, which is called icebreaker column, that is gonna be empty when you import the files the first time, because you will have to generate it later with OpenAI. Once you stored the data in here, I would like you to start scraping also the website that you will find with the data that you just scraped. And I need you to scrape the website per each of the leads that we're going to be reaching out. And the reason is because we want to use the information of the website in order to produce a so-called personalized icebreaker that we're going to be using in our email marketing campaign. And once you did that, I want you to add the icebreaker inside the Google Sheet so that I am able to have everything in one place and ready to be inserted eventually in an email marketing campaign tool like Instantly, for example. I would like you to give me a couple of options in which you would like to proceed for me to choose which is the best one. Please ensure that you need to have the following things in mind. It needs to be fast. It needs to be efficient. You need to be wary of token consumption. The maximum amount of leads that we're going to be scraping is 10. And the reason is because we're running a demo and I think we're going to be good with this. So at this point, we're just going to press enter with this gigantic prompt. And let me go back to where I was. And the reason why we do this is basically because we want to ensure that we give the agent as much context as possible in the beginning, for the agent to be able to give us the best possible outcome. And mind you, I already gave an structure or an architecture that I have in mind, which is what I draw in the Canva slides. So you will see that I mimicked with my prompt everything that is there, right? Step by step. However, I also asked the agent to give me a couple of options. And the reason is because maybe the agent can run a research and find that there are best practices that I'm not considering, or it can come up with something even more efficient. So I want to use actually this agent also as an initial, sparring partner, let's say, in order to figure out, did I get the right idea or did I not? Cool. So the two things that I am seeing right here is that the first one is the modular assembly line, which basically means that there is no human in the loop, just to be clear. And the second one means that the speed tester batch processor, it's something that it's quicker, but has a little bit of issues if you, at least the architecture that it came up with, because it's not really reliable because it's doing everything at once. And I know that I might hit eventually some API limits and stuff like this. So I will just tell the AI agent to, and I will tell it right now, please proceed with option 1. And I will simply tell him also to ensure that you proceed with max 10 leads, and then we're going to be proceeding. Now, we still didn't talk about which Apify scraper we want actually to use, right? So the agent at this point will not have any way to understand what Apify scraper we want to use. And in case you haven't heard about it, Apify is this platform right here, which is simply a third-party platform where other people created these scrapers, which you can see them as like little tools that you can use that do a lot of various things and that you can use for a little bit of money. Like we're talking about cents most of the times. And so just as an example, I'm going now to console and then to Apify store. And just to walk you through, if I wanted to scrape something for Instagram, I could scrape anything right here. If I wanted TikTok or I don't know, even LinkedIn, which is a bit more difficult to scrape than TikTok, I could have it here. Then I could have Apollo if I really wanted, and so on and so forth. So the scraper that we're gonna be using, that by the way is this one, but you will also be able to find it inside the Notion file. So here we're gonna just press it, and this will lead you directly inside the scraper that I wanted to use. So you can use it right here. If I'm not mistaken, by the way, this is a pay-per event. Generally speaking, these type of scraper work even without you having the Apify subscription that I have, by the way. If you see right here, this month I used around $17, right? But this should be a pay-per event, and you can check also all of the details right here of how much it costs. For 1,000 leads is like $2, and it starts, so you're gonna spend 2 cents. So most realistically, we're gonna spend 10 cents. Cool. So our agent right now proceeded and asked and gave us the implementation plan. So as you can see, we have a couple of important stuff to do. So for example, which API scraper are we using, and the credentials for the Google Sheet, the define the spreadsheet ID, so on and so forth, and the API key. So what I'm gonna be doing right now is simply taking all of these things and putting them all together in the chat. So once again, let me actually do it with you so you understand how to do it in case you've never done it before. So we are going to go and take everything. So the first thing that we want to do is to take the API keys of Apify. So we go back to Apify. The first thing that we do is we copy the scraper and we say Apify scraper to use, and we're gonna press this one. API keys. And now actually I don't want to edit the video 20 times, so I will just pop. Okay, so API keys, we're gonna go back to Apify, settings, API and integration, and you can go right here and call it Antigravity. I don't know if it's good enough. Then you're gonna copy. So which is basically, by the way, this button right here, you can copy it to your Antigravity. You can go back and then paste it. And this should be enough for our agent to have everything it needed. Now, we need to find the Google Sheet. So we're going to go back to our Notion. If you go to in here, you're going to be able to press the Google Sheet. And why is this useful? Because then here you're going to be able to see exactly how I map the column, right? So you can have everything exactly as I did it. And so now I can take the URL, so in at the top, and then I can go back to to Antigravity and say, okay, Google Sheet to use. And we're going to press the, paste the link. Then we're going to tell the sheet you need to use is called Sheet 1. And as you can see right here at the very bottom, you're going to see that it's called Sheet 1, right? My first sheet. Then it tells me that I need to create an OpenAI key. So I'm gonna go into OpenAI.dashboard or playground, whatever. We can write everything. I mean, anyway. So you're gonna sign in. So it will be here. Now I think it's signed in automatically. Eventually you press dashboard, you're gonna press the API key, and then you're gonna create a new secret key. So this is called Antigravity test, then create secret key, and then you will have them, and then you're gonna go back to your Antigravity and you're just gonna paste them, right? So again, OpenAI keys, paste. And the last step that is left, which is pretty straightforward, however rather long, so I will spare it, is to create this credential.json. You're going to have to do it in your Google console. So just go there, and then once you have created, you're going to create here the file called credentials.json, and you're going to paste your credential right there. I'm going to do it, and then I'm going to press enter, and once I've done it, I'm going to come back and we can continue the video. Cool, so as you can see now, everything is working as per expectation. I have also created the credentials.json, and everything is proceeding smoothly. So the only thing that is going to be left once we have this will be to do two things. The first things will be to run a test if we're actually scraping 10 leads or scraping more, and then to fix it. And the second thing will be to actually give the AI agent a template for the icebreaker, because we don't want to have a random icebreaker, right? We want to have something specific, customized, punchy, effective. And that's also what you want to review and why you don't want to have it fully automated. And in order to do that, we can go back to our Notion file. And then right here at the very, very bottom, I also gave you already the prompt that I would like to use for the icebreaker generation, which is, hey, we have scraped websites. This is your task. This is what you should be writing in the icebreaker. You will be able to find it, just copy paste it, okay? And then I gave some stuff for the rules that it should be following, the tone, and everything else. All right, so now that the agent is running, we can see that in our directives, we have created something called readme and also run outbound campaign.md, which again, as we were mentioning in the beginning, this just gives the markdown direction and instruction to the agent of what it should be doing, right? There is no code left right here. Where we have the code is where we were discussing before in the execution folder, which is all of these. And as you can see, we have .py. And so this is Python script and the JSON. So the JSON basically tells us, okay, this is an initial thing that I tried to run. So marketing agency, London, country code, whatever, CEOs, max items, so which is the maximum 10 leads. This is the fetched leads. And mind you, all of this code has been written without us actually moving a finger, which means that the technical barrier to produce this is very low. What's really important is your ability to actually think about a problem that is worth solving and your ability to market this problem to businesses. Now, let me move myself for the last time because we are going to be inserting the last prompt and we are going to go back to our Google Sheet Notion in order to find it. And then we're going to be saying, hey, what I would love you to do now is you need to run the agentic workflow that we just created with the following thing. I want to reach out to 10 CEOs in the UK in the recruitment and staffing industry. And with the employee size of the company, which is 51 to 100 employee, I would also love you to add the icebreaker to the Google Sheet that we just generated. And I would love you to follow the below prompt that I have created for you. You will notice that I also inserted in curly brackets some variables. And I would love you to fill out these variables with the data that you will find inside the Google Sheet. So an example is you will have first name and the prompt will start with hey name, and I would love you to put the first name at the right place in the prompt. Great, now we're gonna also go back to our Notion and copy this, paste it here, and now we will be able to press enter, and then we're gonna see what it does and what is the result. So now I'm gonna press enter, I'm gonna position myself back where I was. Perfect, so the agent now finished running, and let's see what it did. So if I go now on Apify, I see, perfect, that the last run was successful and I got 4 results for 4 cents, right? And it lasted 4 seconds. So great. So I managed to get them from Apify. All right. And here in the Google Sheet, I have everything. So name, surname, emails. These are phone numbers, company names in the recruitment space, company website and LinkedIn, job title, everything I want. Perfect. Let's go to the icebreaker. And amazing. Let's read what we wrote to Toby. So, how it looks. Hey Toby, love the focus on niche tech hires, also into fintech solutions. Most likely it's something related to either a website post, either a blog post, or something like that. Wanted to run something by you. Hope you don't mind, but I spent some time looking through your site and noticed that the global recruitment seems important to you guys, or at least that's how it came across given the focus on cross-border team growth. I seem like a smart dude. I put something together a while ago and I thought it may help. Long story short, it's an outreach system that uses AI to find and qualify candidates based on live hiring signals, then reaches out with personalized messages instead of generic blasts. It costs just a few cents to run, converts well, and feels aligned with your commitment to innovate recruitment solutions. So, as you can see, this is the icebreaker, how the initial impression of my email and how it will come across. You see how personalized this is, how easy it is and to read, how it seems like a human stuff and etc. So everything that we produced so far is very, very powerful, specifically if we use it with this agentic workflow. And by the way, if we didn't like one thing, if we didn't like another thing, all we had to do was literally to prompt to our agentic workflow, or in this case, Antigravity, and say, hey, I don't like X, Y, and Z. Can you adjust it? Can you update it? And so on and so forth. As we mentioned, then creating this agentic workflow right now, it's rather simple. The only real technical barrier that you're going to have is actually the API credentials and a bit of, getting the hang of the platform, which will come rather fast, by the way. So the real thing now is not, okay, how can I build something? But the real skill set that you need to develop is, okay, now that I know how to build this, how do I get in front of clients my offer and how can I sell them? And by the way, now you will also have all of this for free in the first link down below. You can access this and I will give you exactly the prompt that I used, my files and everything. So this will be straight in your computer. So if selling this sounds like interesting to you, I would highly recommend you to check the first link down below. And if you want to learn more, I would highly recommend you to check this video right here.